One of the greatest questions to ever inspire the human mind is a question that has perplexed the greatest thinkers and savants from current times and throughout history. Where does existence stem from? Moreover, how is it that humans possess this innate relationship with the non-physical? In other words, how have humans acquired this ability to create and imagine? It seems as though humans have a duality with the tangible and intangible realms. What the ancient shamans, Vedas, and anointed religious figures have conveyed through texts are of great wonder and unfathomable events that have propagated worship and religion. They are stories of a connection with otherworldly entities, as well as records of encounters with extra-dimensional forces. Although we ought to be so inclined to attribute these entities to extraterrestrial beings, these records that have been created into a religion do offer guiding insight of our origin and history of the human race. While each culture and religion has varying belief of what the truth is, there are common threads of evidence that point to an underlying truth of events that have long passed. This leaves us only to collect the artifacts and translate the metaphors to make sense and solve this eternal mystery of how we came to walk this earth and why we are so different from the rest of the species that share this plane of existence. I would like to be one of the people to tell my listeners that we are not from this planet. I will ask of you, the viewer, to be open-minded to an alternate narrative to the esoteric story of the human race. May this provide you a direction of thought that cultivates mystery and rekindles wonder to the mundane in your existence. For this is truly the greatest saga that man has ever spoken. This theory is the Holy Grail, a syncretism of science and religions, with artifacts supporting this grandiose ideology that we truly are not from this planet and have lineage to other star systems. Before we dive into this epoch, we should first take into consideration the fallacies of the Darwinian timeline. Over countless generations, life on Earth has been shaped by a quiet but relentless force, natural selection. It's the core of Darwin's revolutionary idea that species evolve by passing down the traits that help them survive and thrive. Bit by bit, those small advantages accumulate, guiding the transformation of living things. In this way, nature itself becomes the great sculptor, selecting the strong, the swift, the adaptable, and from common origins, crafting the vast diversity of life we see today. This is more or less the prefaces and bottom line of Darwin's theory of evolution. Keep in mind that Neanderthals vanished from the archaeological record around 40,000 years ago. In the time since, modern humans have evolved at an astonishing and accelerated pace, one that defies the slow, steady timeline Darwin's theory would predict. Before Homo sapiens, human evolution moved at a crawl. Neanderthals descended from Homo heidelbergensis, which lived between 700,000 and 200,000 years ago. Before them came Homo erectus, the upright man, spanning roughly 1.9 million to 110,000 years ago. Earlier still was Homo habilis, the handyman, appearing between 2.5 and 1.5 million years ago. And before that, Australopithecus, whose era stretched from about 4.2 to 1.4 million years ago. From Lucy to the dawn of modern humans, technological progress was remarkably stagnant. Despite larger brains and upright posture, the most advanced artifacts we've uncovered are simple double-chipped stone tools, only a modest improvement from the single-edged implements of their ancestors. The oldest structure known to man is in Turkey called Göbekli Tepe in the Şanlıurfa region, dating back 11.5 thousand years ago. Literally right out of the Ice Age, we developed highly advanced building knowledge and astrology. Many more sites that supersede Göbekli Tepe have been discovered around the world, from the ancient pyramids in China to the pyramids in Giza, and the Americas that have alignment with Earth's tectonics and the constellations. Not only evidence of sophisticated building capabilities, but written language, evidence of complex government structure hierarchy, to ancient runways for aircraft and aerial landmarks in the Peruvian desert, and so much more were developed shortly after the Ice Age. Up until the 1300s, the pyramids of Giza and China were the tallest recorded structures in human history. But still to this day, we are incapable of creating stone buildings like the Great Pyramids in China and Egypt. Some people believe that they were created using a lost knowledge and forgotten or erased technology to move such large stones. One theory is harmonic levitation. From the dawn of language, humankind has looked upward and mistaken memory for miracle. Every religion, every pantheon, every whisper in the sacred text hums the same undertone. The gods descended from the heavens, blazing with light, teaching fire, law, and mathematics. Strip away the incense and parchment, and you find the same anatomy of encounter that modern ufology describes. Beings from the sky, luminous craft mistaken for chariots, and knowledge too advanced for its era. In Sumer, the Anunnaki came from the stars to mold humanity from clay, engineers, not ethereal spirits. In India, the Vimanas roared across the sky like metallic temples, spitting fire and thunder, flight before its invention. The Hebrew Elohim said, "Let us make man in our image," a plural godhead that sounds suspiciously like a council rather than a singular divinity. Greek and Roman deities descended on shining discs or fiery wheels. The Norse gods arrived through Bifrost, a bridge of light not unlike an interdimensional conduit. Mesoamerican gods such as Quetzalcoatl promised to return from the sky, not from the grave. Even the Dogon tribe of Mali preserved star maps of Sirius B centuries before modern telescopes confirmed its existence. The Dogon drew their cosmic maps as sacred sand diagrams during secret initiations, using circles and spirals to represent Sirius and its unseen companion's orbit. They encoded this star lore into masks, carvings, and rituals, living symbols that mirrored the heavens. Through oral teaching and the 60-year Sigi ceremony, each generation renewed and passed down this celestial knowledge as both myth and memory. Through this lens, theology becomes a veiled archaeology, sacred texts as encoded chronicles of contact. The halos become energy fields. The burning bush becomes plasma discharge. The voice of God becomes radio. Theophany is technology misunderstood. Perhaps religion is not a lie, but a translation, an ancient attempt to describe the impossible in the only vocabulary available. Every temple, every ritual, every scripture could be the echo of the same visitation, told through the prism of time. And if that's true, then the divine and the extraterrestrial were never separate at all, only different dialects of the same cosmic language. Fast forward to the 1940s, a decade marked not only by war and discovery, but by strange and overlooked correlations. In 1945, humanity split the atom and unleashed the first atomic bomb, an event that forever changed our world. Yet at the very same time, pilots began reporting mysterious glowing orbs, Foo Fighters, that danced around their aircraft, maneuvering with impossible precision and speeds that defied the known laws of physics. Just 2 years later, in 1947, came the most infamous incident in UFO history. Roswell. Reports surfaced of a crashed craft, one that, according to some, was secretly recovered and reverse-engineered by the US government. Then, in the decade that followed, humanity leapt forward. Within just 11 years, microchips and stealth technology appeared, technologies that seemed to arrive far ahead of their time. Is it truly far-fetched to wonder whether we had help whether the rapid surge in human innovation was sparked not by chance, but by contact with something beyond this world. From the decades that were to follow, there have been a steady account of strange sighting and encounters that has kept the mystery alive for so long. For example, some of the more notable reports: July 1952, Washington, D.C., UFO flap, one of the most publicized radar/visual cases. The skies over Washington, D.C. became a stage for one of the most extraordinary UFO incidents in American history. For several nights, air traffic controllers at National Airport and Andrews Air Force Base tracked strange blips darting across their radar screens, objects moving at impossible speeds, then vanishing and reappearing in new positions. Pilots were scrambled to intercept, and even veteran airmen reported glowing lights performing maneuvers far beyond any known aircraft. The sightings weren't just confined to radar. Hundreds of civilians claimed to have seen mysterious orange-white lights hovering above the Capitol, and the White House newspapers exploded with headlines like "Saucer outruns jet, pilot reveals," pushing the Air Force into a rare public press conference. The official explanation, temperature inversions tricking radar, failed to convince many, leaving the Washington flap a cornerstone of UFO lore, where America's seat of power seemed to play host to visitors from beyond. On the evening of November 5, 1975, a logging crew in the Apache Site Greaves National Forest near Snowflake, Arizona, witnessed something that would become one of the most famous and controversial UFO abduction cases in history. As their truck rumbled down a forest road, the men spotted a glowing disc hovering silently above the treetops. Curious, 22-year-old Travis Walton stepped out for a closer look. In an instant, a blue-green beam of light shot from the craft, striking him and throwing him backward. Terrified, his co-workers fled the scene, believing him dead. When they returned minutes later, both Walton and the craft were gone. For 5 days, Walton was missing, triggering a massive manhunt and suspicion of foul play. Then he reappeared, disoriented and shaken, claiming to have awakened aboard an alien craft surrounded by humanoid beings, some small and pale, others more human-like. His account described medical-like examinations and a surreal environment before he was returned to Earth. The story drew FBI involvement, polygraph tests, and national headlines, dividing believers and skeptics. While many of the crewmen passed lie detector tests affirming their story, critics argued the event was a hoax or hallucination. Decades later, the Travis Walton case remains one of the most enduring and polarizing abduction accounts. In conclusion to this video, I hope, as it was my intention, to rekindle wonder to the mundane in the dullness of our lives, to allow us to see religion not only as literal text, but also as a guide to past events, with modern interpretation. If one cannot believe in other worldly entities, then how does one justify their own existence? If the answer is God, well, then is God not another entity of this universe? Please take care, and don't forget to look up into night sky and dream. Thank you. This video and narration was made possible by AI, but written by Sean Janis, a real human from Earth 2025.